Poor sleep by itself may not end your life, but what happens in the first few seconds after you wake up can put real pressure on your heart. There is one morning habit many older adults do without even thinking, and new research suggests it may raise the chance of a serious cardiac event by as much as 40%. It is not smoking, it is not bacon, it is something people do before their feet even touch the floor. And the most shocking part is this: most doctors never clearly warn people about it. Stay with me, because the most protective habit at the end is so simple, so easy, and completely free. One major study found it lowered early morning heart trouble by up to 62% in adults over 60, yet almost nobody does it right, and many never do it at all. I have spent years working with older adults who seem to be doing everything correctly. They ate better, they took their medicines, they walked, they tried to stay healthy, and still, many landed in a clinic or an emergency room after a scary heart episode. When I looked deeper, one pattern kept showing up. The problem was often not lunch, not dinner, not even lack of exercise. The problem was the morning. The first half minute of the day was putting silent strain on the heart over and over again. What you are about to hear goes against what many people think they know about heart health, but I have seen this pattern too many times to ignore it. If this feels useful already, keep listening closely, because the next few minutes could change the way you wake up for the rest of your life. Every morning, between about 4 a.m. and noon, the body goes through a dramatic shift. Blood pressure rises, heart rate moves up, blood becomes thicker and more likely to clot. Stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline jump fast. This is often called the morning cardiovascular surge. It is natural. Your body is trying to help you wake up, focus, and move into the day. But after 60, the system does not handle that surge the way it did decades earlier. Blood vessels become less flexible. The nervous system reacts more slowly. The blood may already be more likely to clot. So a process that a younger body can handle with little trouble can become a danger window in later life. This helps explain why so many heart attacks and strokes happen between 6 in the morning and noon. It is not only about breakfast, it is not only about medicine, it is about how a person moves from sleep into full activity. The speed of that change matters. The habits inside that change matter even more. And millions of people start the day by doing several risky things all at once. Medicine has known about this morning surge for years, but many people are never taught what to do with that information. They hear about cholesterol, salt, weight, and steps. Very few hear a clear message like this: what you do in the first 30 seconds after waking can either help your heart or quietly work against it. That is why this matters so much. These are not expensive fixes. They do not need a prescription. They need awareness. Once you see the pattern, you cannot unsee it. And once you change it, the results can be powerful. Before we go further, think about your own routine. When you open your eyes, what is the very first thing you do? Do you sit up right away, reach for your phone, jump out of bed, and start moving? That small choice may be shaping your risk more than you realize. Let's walk through the 7 morning mistakes that quietly raise heart risk in older adults, and then I will show you what to do instead. One common habit is grabbing the phone in the first minute or two after waking. It feels harmless, it feels normal, but the body is already under pressure from the natural morning surge, and then the brain gets flooded with messages, alerts, news, emails, and emotional noise. A study found that older adults who had this kind of immediate mental stimulation after waking showed a clear rise in blood pressure that lasted close to an hour. That is a long time for the heart to carry extra pressure before the day has even begun. And here is the tricky part: the content does not even have to be bad. Good news, neutral news, or simple scrolling can still push the brain into alert mode too fast. Your mind is awake before your cardiovascular system is ready. Over years, that repeated stress adds up. The fix is very simple. Keep the phone away from the bed, or make one clear rule: no screen for the first 2 minutes after waking. Just 2 minutes. That tiny pause gives your heart and blood vessels time to settle into the day instead of being pushed into instant overdrive. It sounds small. It is not. And what comes next may be even more important, because another habit many people love each morning can quietly make the blood thicker at exactly the wrong time. Let's talk about coffee. I am not here to take it away from anyone, but timing matters, especially after 60. During sleep, the body naturally loses fluid through breathing and basic body processes. By morning, many people wake up mildly dehydrated without realizing it. At the same time, blood is already a little thicker than it will be later in the day because of the body's natural morning clotting tendency. Now, picture what happens when coffee comes first. Caffeine has a mild drying effect, which means it can push the body to lose more fluid. In a well-hydrated body, that may not matter much. In an already dry body with thicker morning blood, it can make a bad moment worse. Research has shown that older adults who drank coffee before water had thicker blood for up to 90 minutes after waking, compared with those who drank water first. Thicker blood is harder for the heart to pump. It is more likely to clot, and that is exactly the kind of condition that can lead to a heart attack or stroke. The fix is almost too easy. Before coffee, drink 1 full glass of water. Room temperature is best, about 12 to 16 ounces. Do it slowly. Do it first. That single habit can lower morning blood thickness and help reduce early blood pressure strain. It takes less than half a minute. It costs nothing, and it may be one of the most useful changes a person can make. If this is already making you rethink your morning, stay with me, because the next mistake sends people to emergency rooms all the time, and most never connect the event to the way they got out of bed. Standing up too fast is one of the most overlooked morning dangers. It happens in seconds, often too fast for people to understand what just happened. When you go from lying down to standing quickly, the body has to move blood against gravity and send enough of it back to the brain right away. Younger bodies usually adjust fast. Older bodies often do not. Blood vessels are stiffer. The response of the nervous system is slower. The result can be a sharp drop in blood pressure when standing, often called orthostatic hypotension. You know the feeling. Dizziness. A brief wave of weakness. That strange floating sensation. In mild cases, it passes quickly. In more serious cases, it can cause a fall, fainting, or a sudden racing heart as the body tries to correct the drop. One study found that older adults with repeated morning episodes like this had a much higher rate of major heart events over time. Think about that. A rushed movement that seems normal may be forcing the heart to work harder every single day. I once heard the story of an older retired teacher who woke up, sat up fast, swung her legs over the bed, stood in one motion, and had to grab the nightstand to avoid collapsing. There was no dramatic illness behind it, no major crisis, just a body that could no longer adapt at the speed it used to. The safer method is a 3-step rise. First, wake and stay still for 30 seconds. Second, sit up slowly and wait another 30 seconds with your legs over the side. Third, place both feet flat, lean forward slightly, and stand in a calm, steady way. No rush. That extra half minute can mean the difference between a stable morning and a dangerous one. Now let's talk about breakfast, because skipping it or eating the wrong first meal can push the heart in the wrong direction. After 60, the body often handles blood sugar differently overnight. Some people wake up too high, others wake up too low. When breakfast is skipped, the body has to keep running on stress hormones to get moving. That means even more adrenaline and more cortisol on top of the natural morning surge. The heart is already under load, and now it is being asked to do demanding work without fuel. But eating the wrong thing can be just as bad. A breakfast full of refined sugar or simple carbs, like sweet cereal, pastries, or white bread, can cause a sharp sugar rise and then a fast crash. That roller coaster affects not only energy, but also blood vessel function and heart stress. Research has shown that older adults with large morning swings in blood sugar had much higher rates of cardiovascular trouble than those with more stable levels. The answer is not complicated. Eat within about an hour of waking. Choose foods that mix protein, healthy fat, and fiber, eggs with vegetables, plain yogurt with nuts, oatmeal with berries and seeds. Something steady, something real. These meals support more stable blood sugar, reduce pressure from stress hormones, and give the body cleaner fuel. Timing matters too. Another study found that people who ate breakfast within the first hour had lower morning cortisol and more stable blood pressure than those who waited much longer. Your heart has already worked through the night. It does not need another challenge first thing in the morning. Feed it well, and then pay close attention to this next point, because even healthy people can put themselves in danger by doing something many believe is good for them. Exercise is powerful. It protects the heart in many ways. But intense exercise in the early morning can be risky for older adults if it happens during the body's danger window. Here is why. Blood pressure is already higher. Blood may already be thicker because of dehydration and natural clotting changes. Heart rate is rising. Then some people push straight into hard running, fast intervals, or heavy lifting. It is like throwing fuel onto a fire that is already burning hot. Research has shown that vigorous exercise in the early morning, especially between 6 and 9 a.m., carries a higher risk of a major cardiac event in older adults than the same workout done later in the day. That does not mean morning movement is bad. It means the body needs a gentler start. The Best early movement is slow and warming, a short walk, light stretching, easy yoga, motion that helps the system shift gears instead of slamming the accelerator. Hard workouts fit better in the late morning, afternoon, or early evening for many people over 60. There was a retired first responder who always ran hard at sunrise because discipline was part of his identity. He later noticed chest tightness during those runs. When he moved the intense session to late afternoon and replaced the early run with a gentle walk and mobility work, the tightness faded away. He felt stronger, not weaker. That is the point so many miss. A smart routine is not about doing less. It is about doing the right thing at the right time. And if you think physical stress is the only danger in the morning, this next part may surprise you even more, because the heart reacts strongly to what the mind is doing in those first few waking minutes. Emotional stress right after waking may be one of the most underrated heart triggers of all. This is where many people get caught without realizing it. The eyes open, and before the body has even settled into being awake, the mind begins racing. Yesterday's argument, today's appointment, money worries, family problems, health fears, a long list before the feet touch the floor. That mental flood stacks an extra wave of cortisol on top of the body's already high morning cortisol. Over time, too much of that hormone can damage blood vessels, increase inflammation, stiffen arteries, and disturb the heart's rhythm. One large study followed thousands of older adults and found that those who reported high emotional stress upon waking had a much higher risk of major heart events than those who woke in a calmer state. Think about how powerful that is, not just what people ate, not just how much they walked. They thought and felt in the opening moments of the day mattered deeply. The fix is not to erase life's problems. It is to place a short protective space between waking and worrying. Just 2 or 3 minutes. Lie still. Breathe slowly. Try a simple pattern. In for 4, hold for 2, out for 6. Do that 4 or 5 times. This pattern helps turn on the calming side of the nervous system and can lower blood pressure in a measurable way. One older woman dealing with family stress used to feel palpitations before breakfast. Her tests looked fine, but her mind was sprinting every morning before her body was ready. She was told to spend 2 minutes breathing slowly and thinking of 3 things she felt grateful for before doing anything else. Within weeks, the palpitations were gone. That was not magic. It was the nervous system finally getting a chance to calm the heart instead of shocking it awake. And now we come to the biggest mistake of all. It is the one that ties everything together. Moving from lying down to full activity without a transition plan. That is the real issue underneath the phone, the coffee, the rushed rise, the skipped breakfast, the hard workout, and the mental storm. They all come from the same problem. The body is being forced to go from 0 to full speed too fast. After 60, the heart needs a runway. It needs a bridge between sleep and action. When that bridge is missing, the strain builds day after day, month after month, year after year. One large study found that older adults who followed a structured morning transition routine had a 62% lower rate of major cardiac events during the early morning hours than those who did not. That is not a small effect. That is huge. And the routine itself is very simple. When you wake up, do not move right away. Stay still for 30 seconds. Breathe. Let awareness come back gently. Then take slow, deep breaths. In for 4, hold for 2, out for 6. Repeat it 4 times. Now sit up slowly, wait another 30 seconds. Let your body adjust to the new position, then drink the glass of room temperature water you prepared the night before. Drink it calmly. After that, place your feet firmly on the floor, lean forward a little, and stand up slowly. For the first 5 to 10 minutes, keep movement easy. Walk slowly, stretch lightly, no phone, no coffee yet, no mental battle plan for the day, just a safe takeoff. That is the whole routine. It takes less than 3 minutes, but those 3 minutes may protect the next 10 years of your life. If you want this habit to stick, build it before bedtime. Put a full glass of water by your bed tonight. That one move prepares the first step. Set your alarm 2 minutes earlier than usual. Not for more pressure, not for extra tasks, just for a slower and safer start. During the first week, keep the routine visible. A simple note by the bed can help. Stay still, breathe, sit slowly, drink water, stand slowly. Move gently. You're not trying to be perfect. You're teaching the body a new rhythm. Most people feel a difference fast. The heavy, groggy feeling many blame on age is often partly caused by a rough transition from sleep to action. Smooth that transition and the morning can feel clearer. Within several days, many people notice steadier energy, less shakiness, less of that strange, unsettled feeling before the first cup of coffee. Within a couple of weeks, blood pressure readings in the morning may look better too. And none of that requires a new pill, a fancy device, or a complicated health program. It comes from doing a few simple things in the right order. There are also a few mistakes to avoid while building the habit. Do not skip the water. It matters. Do not touch the phone before the transition is done. 2 minutes is enough. Do not quit just because you forget once. Consistency matters more than perfection. And do not dismiss their breathing part is fluff. Slow breathing has real effects on the nervous system and the heart. This is not about being fragile. It is about being smart. Your body is not failing you. It is asking for a better start. One final story makes this clear. There was an older retired engineer who had already lived through a mild cardiac event years earlier. He had been given the usual advice: better food, more walking, take the medicine, all good advice. But nobody had asked him what his mornings looked like. When he described them, the pattern was obvious. Alarm rings, phone in hand almost immediately, out of bed at once, coffee before water, brisk walk soon after. On paper, it looked disciplined. In reality, it was a stack of early morning stressors hitting the heart during its most sensitive hours. When he switched to the transition routine, everything changed. He still moved. He still cared about health. He just stopped fighting his body during the first minutes of the day. That is what I want you to remember. The goal is not to become slow, weak, or overly careful. The goal is to stop making the heart absorb avoidable stress at the exact moment it is most vulnerable. So tomorrow morning, do this. Wake up and stay still for 30 seconds. Take 4 slow breaths. Sit up gently. Drink water first. Stand with control. Move lightly. Let the phone wait. Let the coffee wait. Let the world wait. Just for a moment. Because that short pause is not laziness. It is protection. It is one of the simplest acts of care you can give your heart. And if you have made it this far, here is the real takeaway. Many people think heart health is only about what happens at the doctor's office or at the dinner table, but sometimes the most important decision of the day happens before sunrise, before breakfast, before a single word is spoken. It happens in the quiet seconds after you open your eyes. Change those seconds, and you may change far more than you think.